Hey guys, today we are talking all about oils, seasonings, condiments, spices, and everything in between. In this video, I'm going to share with you things to buy while you're doing the heat challenge and then things to avoid so that you don't rack up unnecessary calories and add weird ingredients into your meal plans. Starting off with oils, there are 3 types of oils that I would love for you to incorporate into your food if it is indicated on your meal plan. So the 3 oils that I recommend are olive oil, avocado oil, and coconut oil. Those are going to be your go-to 3 options. The grocery store nowadays has so many different options when it comes to the type of oil that you purchase. You can do a spray can, or you could just buy the regular oil and pour it onto your pan. But the main thing to take away here is to pay attention to your quantities and make sure that you are sticking to your meal plan. Now, it gets tricky because the spray cans will let you know that there are 0 calories and basically 0 everything on the label. But the way that they actually measure these things out is by spraying this for like 1/5 of a second, and that's where you get 0 calories. If you're over here spraying for like a few minutes, the calories are definitely going to add up. If you also look at the serving size, it says here, for example, 536 servings per container. So we really have to be mindful when using these spray cans. In my opinion, it's just easier to measure and weigh out the actual oil that comes in like bottles like this. But again, it's your choice and whatever is easier and best for you. When it comes to oils, for your high heat cooking, you want to stick to avocado oil and coconut oil. Those oils are not going to go rancid on you, and they're not going to go bad at high heat cooking. For low heat cooking, roasting things or doing like salad dressings, I highly recommend you stick to olive oil. All of these oils have a lot of really good health benefits. They're great for getting that fat intake, that healthy fat intake that we're after. And healthy fats, as you guys know, are really great for balancing your hormones and very important to include in your diet. So if you stick to those 3 types of oils when you're grocery shopping, you'll be good to go on the heat challenge. Moving on to seasonings. So we definitely want you guys to season your food. I think it makes the food taste way better when it's well seasoned and it's more enjoyable. We don't want you guys to be eating things that you're dreading, that are dry, that are bland, that have no taste, no seasoning. So please utilize seasonings. Now, the one thing to keep in mind is to make sure that you're looking at the label and make sure that whatever you see on the label is simple and you understand what it actually is, and it does sound like a food item. So for example, here we have some dried parsley. The only ingredient on the back is parsley. So these are things to keep in mind. Now, if you want to find like pre-made seasonings, for example, this onion salt that I found at Trader Joe's, the only ingredient on the back of the label is granulated onion, granulated garlic, minced onion, kosher salt, green onion, and green chives. All of these ingredients are things that you recognize as food and are good to go on the heat challenge. There's also 0 calories in this, and it's perfectly fine to utilize to season your chicken or your vegetables, whatever you like. So the takeaway message here when it comes to seasonings is to turn over the label and make sure that the ingredient list is clean, it's simple, and there's nothing weird added to your ingredient list. For example, when it comes to, I know this is such a popular seasoning that a lot of us like to incorporate with our cooking, the Lowry's garlic salt. And it's okay, I mean, every now and then it's perfectly fine to use this stuff, but if you look at the label, it says the ingredients are sea salt, garlic salt, modified cornstarch, sugar, parsley, natural flavor, and extracts of carrot for color. So, you know, it's okay to do things like this every once in a while, and if you're using it like here and there, it's fine. But if you're using something like this on a daily basis, we kind of don't recommend it just because it has that sugar, it has that cornstarch, and you can basically make your own garlic salt by just doing basically just following the same ingredients that are on this label and just making your own. So we just want you guys to avoid things like this. And like I said, every now and then it's totally fine, but on a consistent basis, we would like for you guys to avoid it, make your own garlic salt, and keep it clean and simple. Now, when it comes to salt, this is one of the things that we get asked often, is salt okay on the meal plan and doing the challenge? So there are different types of salt that you'll find at the grocery store. Nowadays, there's like a million options for everything. So I definitely recommend that you stick to mineral salts like pink Himalayan salt and sea salt. They are not processed, they are in their natural form, and they're gonna provide your body with really good minerals and benefits, lots of electrolytes in here, especially since you guys are going to be sweating with your workouts, so you really want to replenish your body with salt. Now, if you guys are competing at a high level and you are a bodybuilder or a physique competitor, that is where salt is a little bit tricky. But for the most part, many of you guys are not at that extreme level where you need to cut salt out of your diet. So utilizing things like these types of salts is perfectly fine on the heat challenge. Now, what I want you to avoid when it comes to salt is this type of salt. This salt is highly processed. There's no iodine left in it, and it's just the type of salt that we recommend that you guys stay away from. Whether you're doing the heat challenge or not, this is just something to stay away from. There are better options out there. Definitely utilize them and ditch this salt. All right, guys, so moving on to condiments. We definitely would love for you guys to utilize condiments. It's perfectly fine to add some spice or add some different flavors to your food. But again, you really want to be mindful of the ingredients and the calories and the nutrition facts that are included on the label on the back. Everything that you buy and pick up at the grocery store, I want you to make it a habit to turn over that label and make sure that everything that you see in the ingredient list you recognize as food. There's no sugar included and the calories are low. You could really rack up the calories by adding a bunch of different condiments to your food, and then in the end you're just slowing down your progress, and it's just going to make things so much harder to lose that weight. It's the little things that we add to our food that we don't consider but really do make a huge difference. So I want to give you an example of ketchup. So I have two brands here that you might look at and they might seem both like, you know, super clean, both say organic on them, but there's a huge difference when it comes to both of these ketchups. So I don't know if you guys know, but ketchup is one of those things that is actually loaded with sugar, and the serving size is pretty low, so you can really rack up that sugar when you are consuming ketchup. So for example, this one, the serving size is 1 tablespoon, and for 1 tablespoon, you have 4 grams of sugar, 20 calories. It's just pretty high on that sugar. So this is something that you don't want to be deceived. You definitely want to turn that ingredient list over and look at the label and make sure that there's no sugar included in your ketchup and then basically in all of your condiments. An alternative is this one, which I really love. It actually says unsweetened on the label. Calories are half of what's included in regular ketchup, and there's only 2 grams of carbs and 1 gram of sugar, which comes from balsamic vinegar. So this is a great option if you do want to do some ketchup on your meal plan. But again, really please pay attention to your serving size. The serving size here is 1 tablespoon, so we really want to make sure that we're sticking to that when it comes to our condiments. Some options for calorie-free condiments would be like hot sauce. These you don't have to even worry about tracking, measuring, or weighing. You can add as much or as little as you like. So those are great options. And then herbs and spices are also calorie-free, which is nice to add to your food as well without having to weigh or measure anything. Okay, another thing to be mindful of is when it comes to your nut butters. These are already pretty calorie dense, but when it comes to the ingredient list, it's so important to turn over that label and make sure that you guys are reading exactly what is included in your nut butter. So this one looks nice and fancy. It looks like it is a healthy option, but then when you turn over the label, you'll notice that it has palm oil, it has honey in it, it has powdered sugar, cane sugar, lots of added ingredients. So you want to ditch things like this and instead go for just regular nut butter with the only ingredient is that nut and maybe some salt. So it's really, really important, you guys, to make sure that you are looking at your labels and looking at the sugar content that is on the nutrition facts, because we really, really want to keep that sugar low. The last thing that I want to talk about when it comes to condiments is sweeteners. So we definitely want to keep that sugar low, you know, basically the theme of this video, but there are some calorie-free sweeteners that you can add to like your coffee or your tea if you just need a little bit of sweetness in there. Now, when it comes to adding sweeteners to your foods, I highly recommend that you try to cut them out completely if you can. We really want to train our taste buds to not be so addicted to having that sugar in everything that we eat. So really trying to get rid of those sweeteners is something that I highly recommend. But if you feel like you just can't do it cold turkey and you just need a little bit of something in your coffee or tea, that's perfectly fine as well. One of the options that I do like to recommend is stevia. It's a 0-calorie sweetener. It's one of the most natural forms, and it's a great option to have when you do need a little bit of sweetness in your foods. So definitely look out for stevia. This one comes in little packets, but they also have like drops at the grocery store that you can get and just drop it into your coffee, tea, or whatever you're using your sweetener for. Another option for sweeteners is this brand Walden Farms. They do a really good job with 0-calorie and 0-sugar sweeteners. So this is like a caramel syrup that you can add to like your oatmeal or whatever, you know, you would, or your coffee. It's a nice option to have. So definitely look out for that brand Walden Farms. But again, I would highly recommend and definitely challenge you guys to try to cut out those sugars from your diet and those sweeteners, just to train your taste buds to not be so highly addicted to that sugar. Okay, so more calorie-free options when it comes to condiments include things like mustard, some apple cider vinegar. This is great to add to like salads. It'll definitely give you a nice kick, and it also has a lot of really good health benefits. You can do lemon juice as well. That adds a really nice flavor to like salads or marinades. I also like having liquid aminos on hand to use for like stir fries for vegetables. It's a really great option. And then I also like to recommend adding things like banana peppers and pickles to your dishes as well. These are really low on calories and honestly add a really good and delicious flavor to the food. If you like spice like me, you'll definitely enjoy the banana peppers on the side. So that's another option for you guys as well. Another brand that I wanted to give a little shout out for is the Primal Kitchen brand. They do a really good job when it comes to their condiments, their sauces, their salad dressings. But again, we really want to be mindful of the nutritional breakdown of these condiments. I just wanted to bring this up for after the challenge. If you guys are looking for good brands to include in your meals, Primal Kitchen is a great brand. I really, really love their buffalo sauce. It's super delicious. And all of them have really good ingredients, nothing weird in there. Highly recommend this stuff. Okay, and then the last thing is just to really, again, really hammer in the point that we want to be mindful of the condiments that we're using. This Chick-fil-A sauce is so delicious, but you know, we'll save this for our cheat meals, our celebratory meals, and have it on the side. If you look at the ingredient list on here, it's like pretty much a paragraph. Lots of inflammatory ingredients, unfortunately, and adding things like this will definitely rack up those calories on your meal plan. So we want to avoid adding things like that to our meals. But yeah, these are just things to keep in mind when it comes to spicing up your meals and enjoying them a little bit more. You can definitely do that. Please utilize condiments, please utilize spices, but be mindful of those ingredients, those nutrition facts, and make sure that you're putting the highest quality, best products into your body. I hope that this was beneficial for you guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.